doing?
I'm casting magical spells.
Is that how that works?
According to Suicide Squad. Thanks. This movie isn't going to entertain you. It's just going to hurt you real bad. You crazy warlocks, I'm Zach Nanamus.
I'm Jonnydem!
And we just saw the Suicide Squad, and we thought that we'd talk a little bit about it in this special bonus episode of WarRoom!
We just spontaneously did that.
Okay, so we just saw the Suicide Squad, a movie about all of the B-list Batman superheroes from DC Comics fighting a god who's trying to cast a magic spell to take control of the world through the magic of dance moves and used auto parts. That's what
you forgot one.
What?
Is Friendship is Magic the DC version?
The DC villain version of
Yes.
Friendship is Magic.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go into too many spoilers right off the bat.
We'll go a little soft core, and then we're just about halfway through. And you won't expect it, but then it's gonna be like boom, boom. Sorry, that was inappropriate.
So Johnny, I want to frame a question to you, because I think it's a fair.
You should go to Michael's.
You should go to Michael's.
For your framing needs.
No, I think it's fair because this movie went to great lengths to make it connect to the DC cinematic universe proper. Everything that we see is something that might get called to again in a Wonder Woman movie, a Justice League movie, the next Batman. It's all canon. Ben Affleck's in it. There, and that's all.
Flash to Cleese. Aquaman's.
A picture of Aquaman is in it. His trading card is in it, essentially.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about future movies.
Oh, yeah, you can definitely see one of these characters in the Aquaman. So, how does this carry the torch? Since we're in the Olympics now.
How does it fit inside the DC universe? Is that kind of what your question is?
I guess what I'm asking is, compared to everything else, like everything that we've seen in the DC universe, like, does this fit up with it? Does it live up? Do an honest comparison.
Now, keep in mind, I did like the Batman vs. Superman movie, so I'm going to say it's not as good as that movie.
Do you like the Batman vs. Superman movie?
I did. I do.
You're talking about the one where Batman was hit with an atomic bomb, and then later on in the movie, he's dead in space, and then the sun hits him, and he's completely revitalized.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about this Batman Superman movie. I'm trying to make sure we're talking about the same movie.
You said Batman got hit by a bomb?
I'm sorry. Superman gets hit by a nuclear bomb in space, and he's completely dead, and then he's revitalized by the sun, and then later in the movie, he's stabbed in the heart, and then everybody's supposed to assume that that's able to kill him?
Yes.
That movie.
That movie.
Just making sure.
He doesn't die, though.
Of course he doesn't die, but everybody believes he does. After he was hit by an atomic bomb.
It's drama. It's suspense.
It's dumb.
This is not about that movie.
Okay.
I like that movie. I think it's a smart movie. Don't you dare.
Just time we get into an argument, I'm just gonna scream Martha.
It'd probably stop us from fighting. Sorry. This movie, it fits into the universe in a weird way. It's like a jigsaw puzzle piece. Oh God. Sorry.
That was the reaction I had at the movie.
No, I know, but I am not going to tell the joke. There's a joke there. And if you got it. So this movie, it doesn't fit that well into, I think, what they're trying to establish. No, but I think it's a Suicide Squad movie, right? So it's supposed to be a little obtuse. It's supposed to be
offbeat.
Yeah.
Obtuse is stretching it.
Now I did not dislike this movie as much as you did. There are things I did like. I surprisingly actually liked the Joker.
Really?
Yes. I was worried a lot about this Joker. I was worried sick about this Joker.
Morning sickness, meat sweats, the whole deal.
Yeah. I was worried about this Joker because of the tattoos, the whole gangster look. It was like damaged across the forehead. I was rolling my eyes every time I saw the fucking image of him.
Those didn't bug me. And because I accepted that it was prison adventure Joker.
Sure.
This is what we're going for here. he's a street criminal. He's been in the game for a long time. He gets sent off to places. He gets tattoos in the joint, etc. Gang affiliation. That's fine. But when did we establish that the voice has got to be silly?
Okay.
Like with Mark Hamill, like it was exaggerated. You can still kind of hear him in there. And with Jack Nicholson, it wasn't exaggerated at all. It was his voice, and he did a goofy laugh from time to time. Heath Ledger did a character voice, but he was also portraying an American, and he is not. This was just kind of... It was like he had braces.
He kind of...
Hey, Batman!
He had a grill.
You want to see my stamp collection? I thought he was wasted. Like, not...
Well, he was an extra character.
He was an extra character, but there were interesting things about him that they did in the weirdest and most superficial ways. Like, there's a very interesting idea to the smiling aspect to the Joker in this movie, where he's got this tattoo. You've probably seen it in some of the promos, where if he holds his face like this, there'll be a smile, and so like that's how
one of the tattoos.
Yeah. And he did that in, like, he was just, like, laughing at somebody, but he already has a Cheshire grin. I wanted him to, like, violently grab somebody by the face. And, like, that would be the first time you see it. And like, oh, he's giving him the mark of the Joker. But instead, they kind of wasted it in a go-go dancing scene with Harley Quinn, which kind of describes the rest of the movie.
Okay, yeah, last thought on the Joker. I did like him. The voice didn't bother me as much. It is different, but I think he had to be different because there have been so many different iterations of the Joker. Jared Leto had to go out on a limb. He did. I think it landed. It's one of the only things that landed for me with this movie.
I think he could have just been himself. I think taking it back down to a human element. Because it's been bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, then something a little more eerie, something that hits closer to home.
He scared me.
He scared you?
Yeah.
He didn't scare me.
He scared me in the way that, like, a serious person who's like an old school, like, 1930s, 40s, 20s, whatever, gangster, would scare me because he's invested. Like, he is the Joker. He's a gangster, and he's going to kill you. Like that's how scared I was. That kind of scared. It wasn't like I'm scared of, like, it's not like he's a monster.
Sure, but there wasn't enough of an explosiveness to him.
Sure,
you could predict him too well in this movie. But
that's right. Anyway, let's move on from the Joker.
So small a part of it.
It
doesn't warrant it. So let's talk about the biggest part of the movie, Deadshot.
Oh, I thought you wanted to go to Harley Quinn next because you mentioned her first.
She's the most annoying thing about the movie.
All right, let's go do Deadshot.
And before anybody like shuts this off and is like, "Oh, girl character shaming," the best character in the movie is a woman, Katana, the one who spoke the least. No, she was the coolest one, and it's probably it probably has to do with the fact that they did the least with her, so there wasn't enough time for them to do something dumb.
I disagree, but
okay. So Deadshot. To set up Deadshot.
Let's first off assumptions. Before going into the movie, I think that it was a fair assumption. I had this assumption: Deadshot was going to be a major character in this movie because it's Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith would not do the movie unless he was a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they even throw a moral into Deadshot.
Yep.
At one point, which is probably the worst thing about his character development. But the Fresh Prince is back, in all of his Philadelphia colloquialism glory. He's not speaking the way he did in, say, The Pursuit of Happiness.
He'll probably put out another rap album.
I'd love a promotional song for this.
And he'll be as clean as he always is, and he doesn't cuss when he raps. So
no, that's
it'll
fine.
Probably be something. The line in there will probably be, Deadshot is back, yo, buddy's whack.
Deadshot is back, but you know he's whack. He's gonna shoot Harley Quinn in the back. With a kiss, he blowed from his lips. Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's keep it. Yeah. So it'll make Radio Disney. And so lots of Ecto Cooler. Nevertheless, Deadshot's in there, and you're right. They, at every opportunity, they make an attempt to redeem him. He shoots Batman.
He doesn't shoot Harley.
He doesn't shoot Harley.
Oh yeah, spoilers now.
Yep. So we'll go ahead and get into spoilers because it's difficult. It's difficult to talk about what I didn't like about this movie without getting into spoilers. Sure. So you know what? Before we do it, I'll say this. In the first half of the movie, they take a lot of songs from the 70s and 80s, a lot of classic rock songs that were hits of their time.
At the end too.
They shoehorned one in the last 30 seconds of the film, and that made the film bearable to listen to. Actually, you know what? It had very few. That's not fair. It had very few sound design problems.
Right.
I'll say that. The problems are largely visual for me. The combat is all extremely close and thusly gets cluttered. You can't really tell what's going on. Captain Boomerang
Was wasted.
Completely wasted.
Killer Croc sucked.
Killer Croc. He was comic relief. And
They made him into a big. They made him into a big thug.
They did make him into a big thug.
Yeah.
Because he was supposed to be a monster. He was supposed to be a kaiju. And, they made a big deal about him eating people. He didn't eat people one. And there are, monsters in this movie. So he could have grabbed one monster and been not even good enough to eat. And, throw it 50 feet in the air. And, it bashes a car and everything explodes. Because everything explodes in this movie. So spoilers now?
No, we're doing spoilers.
Do you want to say your piece before people have to go? Before people who don't want spoilers have to leave?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
No.
Spoiler alert! One of the most interesting characters from the trailers is the big bad guy. We all thought the big bad guy was going to be the Joker. Even me. He is an antagonist in the film, but that's not who we're really worried about. We're worried about the Enchantress.
She dances.
She dances. She won't stop dancing. She's a wiggling fool.
Can you do? Can you do a Robin Williams impression?
Huh?
Ooh, she dances.
Does she?
In Aladdin, when he had the little hula girl, he hits it and he goes, "Ooh, she dances."
Ooh, she dances. Ho ho! That's how I remember it.
Well, there you go. There's two bad Robin Williams impressions for you. But yeah, so spoilers. Man, you're right. Enchantress. She was the big baddie. Her brother was also the other big baddie.
Well, he was a minor baddie. It wasn't as important.
He actually caused more destruction.
He caused far more destruction.
Yeah.
You're right. And there was something that I was actually defending. I was defending Harley Quinn for before we saw the movie. You were saying that it didn't make sense for Harley Quinn to be on the team because everyone is so much more powerful than she is. This movie would prove you wrong. That they're mostly street level thugs. With the exception of Diablo. Mm-hmm. But then the problem that they're expected to solve is so huge, I didn't have any confidence at the end of the movie that they should be able to solve it. I was waiting for the Deus Ex Machina on many fronts. Yeah. On many fronts. And it delivered because there was nothing they could do once they established the power of Enchantress.
Right. And we came up with a good alternate ending, but where the Flash shows up and just beats the bad monster, and then she goes, "Okay, bye," and then he leaves. That would have been a better ending than what we got.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning here. Not at the beginning, but it's obvious. It's fairly obvious what they're doing. They're sent on a mission. They are the Suicide Squad. If you don't familiar with if you're not familiar from the comics and all that kind of good stuff, they get a thing in their neck. Their heads blow up if they do something they're not supposed to do.
Also, it's actually important for those of you who don't know about it that this is all orchestrated by a very important character in the DC universe called Amanda Waller. Amanda Waller was the director for Project Cadmus for a long time, which was devoted to the destruction of the Justice League, believing that metahumans were going to be the next generation of weaponry, and that the Justice League had no right to exist in our political climate because they were essentially an ungoverned nuke waiting to happen.
Right. And so what she does is she creates her own team to fight off superhumans in this new DC cinematic universe,
which used to have a lot to do with subterfuge and they pick the best spies and most intelligent villains like Captain Boomerang and Deadshot.
Right. So what happens fairly early in the movie is that basically her creating the Suicide Squad is what ends up creating the bad guy because she wants to use Enchantress as part of the Suicide Squad. Which
that was handled very well. It's lots of stories of the Suicide Squad and Cadmus often have to do with Amanda Waller's folly. That was good.
Yes. So and I was really confused at first because the mission that she tells them is because once basically shit goes down.
Yes.
So the Enchantress and her brother are screwing the stuff up. There's an evacuation. Everyone leaves the city.
We should set the tone. In the first moments that we see Enchantress, she travels from Washington to the Middle East in the blink of an eye and steals something from a hardened facility. The moment her brother shows up, he uses tentacle powers to cut a subway in half, and
the subway car,
Yeah.
the vehicle.
Yeah, he cuts the subway car in half, and as it's passing by him on either side, consumes the souls of everyone in about 2 seconds.
Right.
That's how powerful he is compared to a mortal. Harley Quinn, get him!
My first confusing moment of the movie was the way that the mission is worded to them is, oh, this shit's going down. There's a terrorist attack, and what your mission is to actually go and find the one person you're not supposed to kill, or
No. They say reclaim. It's like Agent HK279, and they're like, and Will Smith's like, I don't speak good guy. What does that mean? And then they're like, we're not going to tell you.
No, they say that it's someone they're coming. It's the one person they can't kill.
No, they say the one person who can't die.
Yes,
Which I interpreted as one of the immortals.
Superman.
Yeah.
You're going to go save Superman. I'm like, that was the first moment I was like, that's not what.
Where are we going here?
Yeah, exactly. What is going on?
Which, okay, the thing is that while not handled perfectly, it is important to keep the Suicide Squad on a need-to-know basis.
Right.
Colonel Flagg knew exactly where he was going. Well, actually, he's probably Corporal Flagg at this moment.
Right.
He'll be Colonel later. Colonel Rick Flagg. Also
So,
a Suicide Squad member. They did the characters pretty good.
So anyway, so they go and they find out fairly early on. They're like, don't engage those enemies up there. And then because the reason is they don't want the Suicide Squad.
They said that?
They told them not to engage when the first one they came up against the minions.
So the individuals who were set up, who were brought here only for their powers, their violence acumen,
Yes.
were told not to fight.
Yes.
Gotcha. Go on.
Yes, they said do not engage. I think it was the whole purpose was they didn't want the Suicide Squad to know exactly what they were up against. So they said, oh, we're going to skirt around and we're going to get to the building some other way. So they start going that way, except then there's like a scene where like someone starts shooting them.
No. Hold on. We need to establish one thing, at least.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, is that the Suicide Squad's job was never to fight the Enchantress and her brother. The Suicide Squad was to go get Amanda Waller. And Flagg knew this at the moment. So,
Yeah, that spoiler, that's what we're talking about. The person that wasn't supposed to die was Amanda Waller. She was just up in a building in the middle of the city, and they were going to go get her.
So why would they not want to know what the Suicide Squad is up against? They're not even going up against a god. They could have just started firing, and just plowing through, because the villains were nothing. Harley Quinn, like the baddies, the Enchantress has the ability to take a normal person and turn them into the eye guy from the Power Rangers, the one that had those made all of eyes.
They remind me of the Clay Force from Power Rangers.
Yeah, the putties.
Yeah, putties.
Yeah, and they're so meaningless that Harley Quinn, who, I'm not dogging on her for not being able to kill people, but like 6 of them in an elevator couldn't kill her. So, against characters like, Deadshot or Diablo, they're meaningless, So why did they care? Like, I honestly forgot that part of the movie, and I'm posing the question to you.
Now, around this particular time, I'm glad I remember this because it happened around this time, because I was really, really frustrated with this part. Like, it's just lazy to me about the way they did this part of the movie. Slipknot is also a villain that is part of the Suicide Squad. You know what he didn't get? He didn't get a fancy intro. You know what that means? He's dead! He's going to die! It was so obvious. God damn it! They should have just given the goddamn intro. How hard would that have been?
I don't know. How about use one of the characters that they didn't use? They never needed Captain Boomerang.
Nope.
And Captain Boomerang had some personality from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
They could have blown him up, and we would have all been like, no, not Captain Boomerang.
Which is, god damn it. Another thing, I know this is stupid and small, but even if you had a camera attached to a goddamn boomerang, it doesn't fly like that, so you can actually watch the bad guys and zoom in on everything. Boomerangs spin, for one, and they don't move that slow.
I believe that Captain Boomerang would have the ability to
Stabilize the camera?
To stabilize the camera.
It still doesn't move that slow.
And throw the boomerang in such a way, or design a boomerang in such a way, that it does move that slowly. No, Captain Boomerang is a genius. He is a normal man who uses boomerangs against the Flash. He knows what's good.
Okay. All right. I will default to you on this one, but it looked stupid to me. All right. Anyway, so we're at the point where they engage. They eventually get around to finding their way into the building. They fight the stuff. The putties.
Yes, the putties.
The putties. We're calling them that.
There's no reason not to, because an evil witch from another dimension
Right?
takes. Well, Rita didn't take normal people, but she took normal Earth. That wasn't moon dust.
Yes.
She
That's
took
true.
normal Earth and
Yep.
turned it into the putties. So.
Sorry. Did they steal the Murloc noise from them?
No, but they stole their dance moves for Enchantress. I can't do the thing.
They usually pause and then you gotta break apart.
That's because you have to shimp in the claymation version.
Right. So anyway, so they make it up in the building. They find out it's Amanda Waller. They're all like, "What?"
Oh, hold on. The important thing to know, because the Suicide Squad also knew this at the time, was that there was a big event happening in this in the center of Midway City, and that
It's a common thing. You know where this stuff is going on. Like you even think like the last Ninja Turtles movie. Everyone sees that the Technodrome is being built.
Yes.
Or for another example, I think one of the old Ghostbusters movies is like that. Everyone knows where the
both
yeah.
Ghostbusters movies.
Yeah,
are like
it's like, oh, there's a big thing going on.
You got Gozer on the top of Dana's apartment building.
Yeah.
And then you have the slime, the negatively charged slime around. It's in New York, but I can't think
It's
of
a
the
common
building.
trope. I mean, even back Willow, one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a castle, and then like where the lightning's hitting, and like all this. Oh, something's going on in that tower. Like everyone knows where the bad stuff is happening.
Sure, but the important thing to know is that the audience knows this at this point. Is that door closed? Oh, it is.
That's fine.
So the Enchantress has decided to make a machine out of used car parts. I'm not joking. The only thing she picks up is cars. She needed used auto parts to make her big machine that will be able to turn people into putties and also produce the kind of lightning that can cut through an aircraft carrier, because they do that.
Yeah, it wasn't like a machine like we think of machines. It was a magic machine.
Yeah, it was a magic machine powered by dance moves. She's so wiggly. And she looks okay. I'm sure she's a fine actress. Not that they allowed her to act, because somebody else voices over her the entire time.
Well, her especially when she was dancing, it was CG.
But there was
because she probably has a hip issue because she couldn't do her own stunts.
But the thing about it is, and I know this is incredibly superficial, I'd love to see her in another movie where she's allowed to actually act, but she looks so much like Christina Ricci. I was just thinking that Wednesday Addams has gone off the deep end and decided to destroy the DC heroes.
Villains.
But I'll go back to you. It's important to know that there is a world-ending event going on at this point of the movie.
Oh, right. Yeah. The lightning all of a sudden springs up because they have Amanda Waller submerged and have probes.
No, but you were talking
probes
about they got her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got her. We were at that point. So they get Amanda Waller. They take her out. That's when Harley.
Oh, that's right.
That's when Harley ditches the group, because the Joker is able to overload the explosive rice in her neck, which is how they describe it. And then she escapes, and Amanda Waller's like, Deadshot, kill her, and I'll solve every problem you've ever had. And Deadshot was like, sorry, I missed, because I'm a good guy after all. Even though this good guy is refusing to kill bad guys, but I digress.
Which would be nice for us because Harley Quinn's the most annoying part of the movie.
Yeah, she is.
Let's go into that.
The thing I've been saying this for like 3 weeks straight now, because I've been watching so many movies lately. But it is an actor's job to go big. It is a director's job to find the performance that they want in there.
Right.
And then it's the editor's job to cut out the fluff if too much is in there. Right? Because even the director doesn't have a good idea of the way it's going to play on celluloid. They're very caught up in the moment, and the editor is very far away from it. She put in, and it seems like she did all the jokes that they wrote for her.
All of them.
All of them.
Now, Jessica, Jay Freed.
Jessica.
No, Jessica.
So Jessica, as we were arriving home, she asked me a question. She asked me kind of about if Harley Quinn was as she was in other iterations, and she thought she came from the comic books, and I was like, well, no, her first appearance was in the animated series, which I was a big fan of and watched a lot of. And she asked me how true Harley Quinn, this version, was to the original, and there were things that were fairly accurate.
I'd say very faithful.
Yeah, the costuming was different, which is fine.
Yeah, she does that.
Yeah, no big deal. She got a lot. One time she pronounced pudding completely wrong.
What'd she say?
Like pudding?
She say Nestle pudding snack packs straight from the cup to your pudding hole.
Exactly. But no, that bothered me a little bit, but it's a minor thing.
Okay, I got it. It's not the problem with Harley.
Their relationship is a lot different in the animated series.
Yes, the Joker hates Harley.
Different. Yeah, he gets annoyed with her quite a bit.
He completely dismisses her. She is there, and not to be too graphic, but she is there for the Joker's amusement. And if that would, the idea of saving Harley Quinn has never crossed his mind, unless there's a goal.
She is what her costume is. She's a court jester to the Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but I figured it out. I just got it.
Go ahead.
The problem with Harley Quinn is not Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn is fine in this movie, but she represents a tonal shift in everything that she says. This movie is so different from her, and the way she's written and the way she acts and the powers that she has, that it almost seems like she shouldn't have been here. Be as faithful as you like. If you're Luke Skywalker in Tom Hanks's Big, there's a problem. You know,
part of the reason I think we have a problem with it, and I don't think it's the only reason. I just think it adds to it. It wasn't so much. It was mostly the one-liners. The character I liked. I think her character was fine. It was just certain scenes, they always had to, like, when the scene was just about over, pretty much, she had to, like, throw in this one-liner that nobody needed, nobody wanted, and the only people laughing, I think, are... I don't want to say stupid people. That's not what I want to say.
General audiences?
General audiences, yes. And
no, I don't want to start doing that.
Okay.
I don't want to be some Metacritic show
that's fine.
That has to look at the art of film. If it entertains me, it entertains me. Go see the Ghostbusters. It's funny.
The Ghostbusters is a great movie. You should go see that movie. But what I'm trying to say is what added to the displeasure is when people were laughing so hard at those little one-liners.
I'm okay with that.
It bothered me a little bit because I felt like it... I don't know. It's like this. It goes back to this movie kind of fitting in a weird place in this new DC universe they're trying to create. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
To me, it just doesn't fit.
And you're right, but I think that the reason that the jokes kind of fell flat is because she had no straight man.
True.
She needed Colonel Flag to be a much closer character to her than Deadshot.
No, you're right.
Like there was one scene, and it should have got a really good laugh. At least out of me, it did get some chuckles around the theater. It wasn't one of those blackout moments, but like the Enchantress is like they're all behind a pillar. The Enchantress is omniscient, so it doesn't matter they're behind the pillar. And then the Enchantress is like, "Come to me," and then she's like, "Okay," and then she walks around it. What that really
what she says is she won't hurt them.
Yes.
Yeah, she said, "Come out, I won't hurt you."
Yeah.
Or I won't bite. I think is what she said.
That really needed a wide shot of her going around the pillar and then Flag without looking catching her by the collar.
Yes.
That's what it needed.
That would have been fine.
Because it would have taken it back to, that's the logical character. That's the character we should root for. That's the person that we should think of ourselves as because he's the only redeemable one.
Flag should have been the good guy, not Deadshot.
Yes. RoboCop.
Yeah.
Which...
He's a great actor.
I like RoboCop.
I didn't like him in this movie because he felt because to me, well, I know him from The Killing, which is a Netflix show, which is it was an AMC show before that.
Oh yeah, I have seen that.
It's a great show, but he plays a kind of
scumbag cop.
A scumbag cop, and he plays almost like a God. I don't want to use that word. Sorry, so when I censor myself, sometimes I do it out loud. He plays an urban white guy. He's a street kid.
What were you going to say?
You're editing this.
Yeah.
I was going to say...